Hello everyone, and in this video I'm going to be talking about and showing off my Appmon Chip collection, which, as I've mentioned in many videos before, Appmon is my favourite series of Digimon. So this came from all Digimon Universe Appli monsters, and I thought I'd finally show off my collection because I've had it since these were all first released. So Appmon Chips, in case you don't know, are these little chips that the main characters in Appmon use to sort of send out their Digimon, or Appmon rather. Think of them as kind of, I guess, a Pokeball in Pokemon. You have them and you use them, and you can have many of them, and the main characters have many Appmon buddies, but they've got a main buddy. So Haru, who is the main character, has Gatchmon as his buddy, who is this one, and he is based on a search engine app. There's also Musimon, who's a music app, Dokomon, who is like a fighting game app, and Hackmon, who is a hacking app. So these chips were used in multiple different ways. We have the two Appli drives, so these were the Digivices used in the season. So you would put the Appmon chip in, so let's turn this one on. It lights up, it screams at you for a bit, and you slide it down. You load it, and then I'll see if I can remember how to actually use it. There's buttons on the side. So yeah, it screams at you, it tells you the Appmon's name and its power, and it uses the same noises as the show. You can also do something called Applink, which is when you put that Appmon in, and then you put another one, take that one out, and then you put another one in there. And again, it uses the same sound effects as in the anime, and it screams at you. So that one didn't make the same Digimon with a Appmon rather with a plus. It actually made a new Appmon, which is Logimon. So that's what Gatchmon and Onmon make. So in the same way, if you use like this one, it screams at you a lot. And in the same way, you can Applink it. So this one isn't its own Appmon character, it just made a combination of the two. So that's sort of like the different ways you can use the chips, and on the Appli drive it has a ranking of the strongest Appmon that you've made. So that's sort of how that works, and the Appli Drive Duo, which was the upgraded version of the Appli Drive in the show, does similar, but it requires you to put your finger on this one. But it's more or less the same sort of functionality there, except it's got it snaps back in, which is pretty cool, and it's got different sounds. The interesting thing about both the Appli drives is that they would frequently spoil the show if you had the Appmon chips that combined to make a new, entirely different Digimon or Appmon rather. I keep on calling them Digimon. Speaking of Digimon, one of my favourite chips is the Agumon and Gatchmon combination Dim. So it was pretty cool. It's Gatchmon and Agumon, and it was all of these gold rimmed ones were actually prizes. So when Appmon was airing, there was a website called the Appmon Data Lab, and you would use the QR codes on the back of the Appmon chips, and you could combine your Appmon, and if you had one with a strong power, as we just saw from the Appli Drive, it would enter it into like a ranking for the rest of the website, and if you topped the rankings, you'd be sent one of these depending on which one they were giving out at the time. I think there's only 6. I only have 6 of those gold-rimmed Appmon Data Lab ones. But yeah, these are like the special ones. Like this one came with the 3DS game, which interestingly you could also use the Appmon chips for this 3DS game. So when I mentioned that they have QR codes at the back, that's how you would use them in the 3DS game. So it would open up the camera on your 3DS, you would aim it to the QR code on the back of the Appmon chip, and you would put it in the game, and it would be your Appmon for the game. So that was fairly cool as well. So it sort of had all these different uses for them. Before we actually look at my full collection, which is kind of big, if you thought the DIMs were a problem for the VB, you wait to see the Appmon chips. So there was also the Appmon Band, which more or less, I'll just grab some Appmon chips here. This one, the first one, was just basically a storage for your Appmon chips. So it doesn't do anything, there's no batteries, it's just a simple cosplay prop and also storage for your Appmon chips. So that was that. It came alongside the Appli Drive when that was first released and the characters used in the show, so it's like a cute little cosplay prop and storage if you're playing with your Appli Drive. Then later on in the show, they had the 7-code band, which was an upgraded version of the app band that I just showed you. And really, I should do a video on this sometime because I'd never quite worked out how to use it. I think it's sort of like a virtual pet, but with the Appmon chips. You put the Appmon chips there, and you load them up. So I wonder if it'll accept my and you can app drive it. So yeah, I haven't actually played with this one much, so I don't actually know how to use it. I just sort of got it, and then I never actually did much with it, and I'm not sure if the screen even shows up enough on the video. Yeah, it's got Dandenong from that part of the show, and the sounds are pretty good. Touch. Search. So yeah, it's like an adventure sort of virtual pet sort of thing. It's not really a virtual pet, but it's like an adventure device sort of thing. It's a bit more of a game than the Appli Drive. And geez, it's very tight putting it in there. So yeah, I'll do a video on that at one point because I've not actually spent much time with that at all. It's just sort of sat there, hanging out, and not doing much. So yeah, now let's actually look at my collection once I've put away that chip. So first of all, there are 3 of these folders. You'll notice they all say version 1, and that's because a version 2 did actually come up for pre-order, and I pre-ordered it, but it then got discontinued, which was sad. I'm not sure why. Hobbyling Japan just said it got discontinued, and I've never actually seen it pop up, so I actually got an additional 2 of these Appmon chip files because I wanted storage for them. So they're all version 1, which is kind of annoying that they released tons of Appmon chips, and my collection is almost complete, but not quite. But yeah, so I never actually got a complete set. So the Appmon chips sort of came out in multiple ways. They came out in these blind bags, and I've got a few unboxing videos from about 6 years ago on this channel if you're interested in watching them. So they came out in blind bags, they came out in little gummy packs with lollies, they came in Gachapon, in various different Gachapon, machines, and they're all pretty cool. And as I said, they can all be used with the DS game, they can all be used with the Appli drive, and no, they are not for sale. I'm still trying to complete my collection. So we've got here, you can see it's booster 1. I think there are about 6. They're not booster boxes, I guess. They're just blind bag boxes. And then we've got C, I think, was the ones that came with like a little gummy, like a chewing gum snack sort of thing. Or maybe that was V. I can't remember. I think C was like the other Gachapon ones. There were a lot of different ways to get them, and they all came out in very close succession of each other within like the year of its run. So I almost have every chip. I have a listing of the ones I'm missing. I think I'm like annoyingly missing like Gachamon from like the first set, and like a few of the I think the ones I'm missing aren't even rares, so they're actually harder to get online. I've been hunting them on From Japan. Every so often I'll get a new one, but they're becoming harder and harder to get. So yeah, the main premise of Appmon is that the Appmon characters are based on apps. So we've got like the calendar app, which actually has the date of August 1st on it, which is a fun thing. We've got the news app. We've got like, a rubbish bin app. We've got the alarm clock app. This app is Twitter. So that's pretty cool. And it basically had the Appmon characters as they were coming out in the show. But as I said before, you could actually combine them and accidentally encounter characters that you haven't met yet in the show. And that was pretty cool. And yeah, if you want to see my unboxings, they're all on the channel. And yeah, but they're very old. They're back when I didn't, I guess a few of them don't even have voice with it. It's just sort of silence of me unboxing things. And the later ones I think I spoke with, but I was using the phone's microphone. And here are some that I don't have many of at all. They're the bingo set. I think they were also gacha ones, but they were harder to get from on the internet. Like, there were the gacha ones that Hobbylink Japan just sold like a bunch of, but the bingo ones were only in gacha machines. So I only got a few of them. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I think it goes to like 16 or something. So I'm missing a few of those, and those ones I had to grab on From Japan. But yeah, they have basically every character that shows up. Some of them are like virus versions, which are the ones that are corrupted, which are sort of like the monsters of the week. They get corrupted and you need to beat them because they've got something called the L virus. If you haven't already, watch Appmon. It is very fun. Especially if you like the Yokai Watch, Young Hunters sort of Digimon are impacting, all these monsters are impacting events in the human world, and we have to stop them. So we've got like the doctor app, or a health app. We've got like a calculator app. And again, you can see I'm missing one up here, which is sad, and the missing one here as well. And we've got Weatherdramon, who is one of my favorites. He's adorable. So yeah, there's a nice array of them, and yeah, we're just sort of thinking about them the other day, and with all the Appmon love that was going on because of Appmon's anniversary, and I was just talking about the Appmon Chips, and people were like, you should show the Appmon Chip collection, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should, because some of them are really nice. So I've got some of the bad guys here, and the art on them is just incredible, especially because you can use them with the Appmon 3DS game. I thought that was probably one of the coolest parts of it. I'd love more games to use these kind of chips, and I guess dim cards are sort of the same sort of thing. But yeah, it's a shame that I wasn't able to get a full collection when they were originally coming out. But I tried. I bought everything that Hobbylink Japan had. At the time, I only used Hobbylink Japan, and I think I may have used Army a few times, but I was mainly using Hobbylink Japan, so I probably missed out on a bunch of stuff that I would have had if I'm not sure if From Japan was around as much back then, but I did not use it. I only knew of eBay and HobbyLink Japan. And then of course there's this thing, which was the 7-code pad. And if we open it up here, it's got like this long tongue thing going on. This goes into the Appli drive, which I'll just pick up, and I'll just turn it on. Actually, I'm not sure if it's, I don't know, maybe, oh no, I don't think this one was compatible with the Appli drive, I think it was only compatible with the original one, which was a bit of an oversight on their design, because I'm fairly certain the 7-code band came out a little bit before the Duo. So yeah, you pop it in there, and then I probably should have turned that on first. There we are. So you put in the weird tongue. Ranking! Nope, that's the ranking. And I've forgotten how to use it. It's just so weird because it's like this long tongue. There we go. And it sort of counts down your completion of which ones you have in there. So you put that back in, and I have all of the 7 codes that make up Dandenong. So once you have all the 7, you can summon Dandenong. And I can't remember how to open this. I think there's like a... Yeah, I cannot remember how for the life of me to open this. So this was sort of like the iPad, I guess. Ah, there we are. And you pop them out, and you put them in your Appli drive. So you've got code 1 there, and it shows who it is. It's Mailmon, as in like he's a mail app. And you pop those in, and when you put them in there, and then it'll read about which ones you have when you use this long weird tongue thing. There we go. And so yeah, and then you summon Dandenong, who is this charming fellow. And those also were released in various sets. They didn't all come out in the same set. They required you to actually, just opening it up again, to get, like, this one came from the first set. Then we'll look at number 4, which came from the second. I think they came out like in a bunch of different ones. This one came out in the third one. So you actually had to get them from each of those. Yeah, so that the first 3 of those sets came with the 7-code chips. And then this came out, and then it sort of kept it all happy and safe, and you can use it with the Appli drive. So yeah, that's basically my full collection. There was also a bunch more that came with special Appmon from this that came out around the same time, and that's cool. But yeah, and those are also in my folders. So yeah, I hope that was exciting for people to watch me go through my collection very quickly for Appmon Chips, because I absolutely love the Appmon series, and I wish that I kind of had a more full collection. I think I'm only missing like 10 or something. But anyway, do you have any Appmon Chips? What's your collection? Please let me know in the comments, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!